I don't know where this narrative of all of Liam's characters play broody sad boys. Now, is it true that he tends to have tragic backstories? Yes, he tends to have tragic backstories. But most D&D characters, not only in live plays, but in general, tend to have tragic backstories. Tragic backstories, not only in tabletop, but in writing as a whole, a tragedy tends to be a call to action to go out on an adventure. Having something taken away from you, and something that is now not tying you down, or a reason to go avenge somebody, that's where all the death comes from, is a very easy but very effective way to get our heroes to go out, or our protagonists at least, to go out and adventure the world. And Liam knows this, and Liam writes characters to fit this. But that is the main similarity between all of his characters. If we break down his characters from just the major campaigns, you can tell that they are very different people. By the way, spoilers for everything. Mainly the the 4 campaigns of Critical Role, because that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So if we look at where Vax'ildan started, his campaign 1 character, he is kind of charismatic. He's a wisecracking little punk in the beginning. He likes to have fun with his friends. He likes to party. He likes to drink. And he is just a very outward character. And then also, he's very sneaky. Now, they also happen to have daddy issues, him and his sister, Vex. But, again, most people have tragic backstories. He only starts getting a little broody closer to the end when shit really hits the fan, and at the point where he sells his soul to try to save his friends. The first instance of it, trying to have him save his, own sister, and then in turn also trying to come back to life after his death, selling his soul away to the Raven Queen so then they could save the world. So him knowing that he has a clock on him, yeah, it's gonna have a different vibe than at the start of the campaign. Like, that's just, I feel like it's kind of natural. And that doesn't even mean he is completely derived of fun, but the campaign got a lot more serious at that point. Now, if we look at Caleb is definitely Liam's most tragic character, and that's where a lot of Critical Role fans came into Critical Role, was campaign 2, because of the situations happening at the time to kind of really uplift their popularity more than campaign 1 did. But Caleb is definitely his most tragic character. A very dark backstory, and because of his dark backstory and how he was able to handle it, he is the exact opposite personality-wise than Vax. He is broody from the start, but mostly in a self-secluded kind of way. He doesn't really deal with people. He doesn't like talking to people. He's very straightforward. He sometimes doesn't get jokes. He doesn't even use an arcane focus. Yeah, also he's a wizard. So he is very depressed at the start. And his main friend being a goblin with also a pretty tragic backstory, but he is definitely a dark character. He is kind of a broody character, but even then, as the campaign went on and his anxieties started getting lifted and he started connecting with the rest of the group, he started kind of being lifted up more. He started being a little more positive, being more happy around his friends. And that is fantastic character growth. He wasn't broody the whole time. He just kind of started out like that. And that's where the character growth came in. And then when he made, high enough wizard to be able to make that tower, he had cats as servants and being all cute. And then he made rooms so intertwined with his, like, friends' personalities that he found love later on. He became more of an upbeat character. Now, he was still very much an introvert, but even comparing him to Vax, two completely different characters. Yes, blacks and grays was his aesthetic with both characters. One, because the first one was a rogue, so duh. And the second one was a very depressed wizard. But even then, they still had different vibes, even though they had the same color palette. But then, Campaign 3, you cannot fucking tell me that Orym is anything like the other two in any way, shape, or form. Outside of dead people in his past. And that's what got him to do what he does. Because Orym, despite anything that has happened to him, he still has family that still loves him, that we do see him interact with. He is a very uplifting character. He has a different color palette aesthetically. And he is kind of the glue that holds the group together. Like, this very dysfunctional group of people, he's kind of the only level-headed one. He is not one that is affected by his psyche and he, can't handle himself in situations, or he doesn't have any immense trauma that's holding him back. He tends to be the one who's always, despite his height, being somebody who you could lean on. He's always trying to uplift everybody else. He is not only is he a support character when it comes to the story, but he is kind of an emotional support character. He is very uplifted, or he's uplifting, and he's a very upbeat character, and he's almost childlike in some instances, and he's very grounded as a character, and I wouldn't consider him broody at all. Orym is not a broody character in any way, shape, or form, and I don't even know how people could think that. Yes, he is sad about his husband dying. Duh. But he doesn't, you don't really think about it when you see his character play. You don't notice that he has a depressing backstory, because he shoves all that behind. He tries to be kind of the voice of reason, and he tries to be a very uplifting person. So again, vastly different people in all three of these campaigns. Like, if you saw all these people in a bar, Vax would be the one at a table gambling, drinking, laughing with his friends. Caleb would be the one drinking some whiskey on the rocks alone, kind of in the corner of the bar. And Orym would be the one who orders milk instead of alcohol. Very different archetypes of characters. So this idea that Liam always plays a broody, dark character is just objectively false. Now, you could have your critiques on how he plays certain characters, or if you like his, one character over another, or whatever. But to say that they're all the same is blatantly wrong, and a very surface level look at his characters. Oh, sad backstory, they must be the same. And I don't know if it's because of his voice acting career, because he plays characters like Gara or Infinite from Sonic Forces, or Orihime's dead brother from Bleach. Just because he has the kind of voice that does that, and he plays those kind of voice actors, and that's like the vibe he comes off with when he's pulled back a little bit. Really, the only reason why I could think of why people have this idea of him. But again, you're not looking at the characters, you're not looking at their motivations, you're not looking at how they act with people. Like, again, the most surface level understanding of his characters, and even then, you can see that they're very different people. Artwork alone, you can see that they're very different people. Again, artwork alone, I can see how Vax and Caleb could be similar when it comes to, again, having a dark palette. Looking at the animated series, let's say, and how both Caleb and Vax is portrayed in the trailers, because all we have is a trailer at the time of this recording for the Mighty Nine. You could tell that, again, these are very different characters. And we got Campaign 4. This is the most white picket fence character that he's played. Now, I haven't finished episode 3, but episode 3 is out of this time of this recording. But Liam's character doesn't seem anybody who is crazy special in terms of the effect that he has on the world. And he just seemed like a normal dude hosting a funeral for his dead brother. So, like, yeah, he's not the most upbeat character, but it's literally post-brother execution. You're not going to be the happiest person. We're really going to have to wait and see how he deals with it, which I think he's dealt with it pretty well. He is very welcoming to people in his house. He's accommodating. He's just very much like a normal guy. Now, again, I haven't finished episode 3, so things can be different, but my first impressions of him is that he is just some dude who happens to have important connections. But that's the point here, is media literacy. I don't understand why people think that all of Liam's characters are the same when they definitely are not the same. They are definitely very different characters. And I just want to say to everybody who thinks Liam's characters are all the same that you're just wrong. Straight up wrong. Absolutely wrong. No argument. Wrong. And this is only campaign, like, standard campaign stuff. Like, if you look at his other characters in side projects like Age of Umbra, completely unhinged, crazy, like, inhuman character, like, totally wild, you know, not even close to anywhere what he's played in the past. And that was fun. He knows how to play different type of characters, and all of his characters are different. They just happen to have sad stuff about them, which, that's with most characters. Everybody has a sad backstory for one reason or another. Some characters don't. A lot of characters do. But it's very common for a character who is on an adventure to have something bad happen to them for some reason. It being a dead family member, or a oppressive government fucking them over in some way, shape, or form. Something bad happens for these characters to have motivations to go out and do what they do, to try to make the world a better place, or to avenge a loved one, or whatever it happens to be. So just because Liam has characters that has tragic backstories doesn't mean all of his characters are brooding sad boys. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more from me, subscribe. And if you want to see even more, check out the links down below to what I normally do with my streaming and my music channel and all that kind of fun stuff, and Discord and all that, again, fun stuff. And until next time, bye.